actually on site today at Camp Hebron right in Attleboro. Now it's just a subdivision and I'm kind of on the side of it that would cross the bridge, cross the tracks into Camp Hebron itself. Now just a number of houses, but back in the 1800s, early 1900s, it was a thriving Christian camp. The story goes that back in 1858, the American Millennial Association, and their purpose was to inform the world at large of the testimony of the inspired writings of God's plan for the great work of redemption was formed. That was the beginning of Camp Hebron. That was the group that created eventually Camp Hebron. And in 1870, a farmer named Joseph Thurber, and we're on Thurber Street right now on the cross streets of Thurber in South Main. So farmer Joseph Thurber sold 28 acres for $771 to this association, the American Millennial Association. And it said, quote, that a greater tract was said to be given to the group for gospel purposes. So this is when Camp Hebron was created, right around 1870. And because at that time, it's no longer there was a train stop. You might be able to see the train tracks behind me. There was a train stop right at the camp. People all over New England would come to Camp Hebron to attend camp meetings all week where there was singing and preaching and Christian fellowship. So in the Attleboro Sun, there was a gentleman who is a lifelong Attleboro resident, and he wrote an article about his memories of the Camp Hebron during the early 1900s. He says this, and I'm going to quote, he says, during my time on the farm, he lived in a farm around here. Camp Hebron was very active as a religious summer camp more closely associated with the Christian and Missionary Alliance. In fact, the old Thurber Avenue Railroad Bridge, right near where we are now, was a popular summer evening gathering place for the church campers. And he says that those times were fruitful seasons of camp and historic revival meetings. He continues on and he says, at times we could hear the singing of traditional gospel music being enthusiastically raised heavenward from the camp's meeting house. A.B. Simpson, the founder of the Christian and Missionary Alliance, spoke at Camp Hebron a number of times during his tenure in leadership. And so I wanted to come on site, not to show you what Camp Hebron is now, but to show you what Camp Hebron was at its inception, was at the height of its prominence as a Christian camp, and to just remind us that there is a rich history of Christianity in Attleboro, in New England, in the Alliance New England, of which we are a part. And just like there were calls for revival and calls for fellowship and calls for prayer and calls for singing, we carry on that tradition, maybe not physically in this place, but all around and throughout Attleboro. And so we're standing on the shoulders of people who have lived faithfully from generation to generation. And now we, as a congregation, 125 years old, gets to take the vibrant faith that we carry and pass it on to a new generation.